All right. We're back with the Malapert Smart Wrestling Podcast. Thank you to everyone out there who is watching or who has subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, shame on you. You must subscribe because we are the premier wrestling review podcast on the internet right now. We are the comprehensive review of Raw, Smackdown, and Dynamite. If you want a review of all angles, you could go to our YouTube community posts on our YouTube page and you could just see just thumbs up, thumbs down, some comments from Vlad and Robert. Speaking of Vlad and Robert, I got my two favorite people with me again today for episode 125. Can you believe we've done 124 of these? But yes, let me introduce my co-hosts today. I'll start with Vlad. Vlad, the wrestling expert. Hello.
Good to be here, guys.
See you, man.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, it's always good to be here.
Well, you've been following the wrestling this week. Did you watch all of it?
I watched enough of it to have an opinion on almost all of it.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do WWE and AEW, mix, some of both, and we'll do the angles, I guess, that I thought were the best ones, because I can't sit here and talk about all these angles with you, unfortunately, all night. No. It's getting late, and it would take a long time to talk about every single angle in wrestling from the week. But I'll do just a few select angles, and we'll do as many as we can, try to keep this to about an hour. But Robert, the Frozen Asian, is also here. Thank you very much for joining us, Robert. Say hello.
What's up, everybody? And to those of you listening, if you haven't subscribed yet, Hangman Adam Page is going to go to your house and burn it down.
Yes, exactly. All right, well, we're gonna get to Hangman Adam Page burning down houses a little later on, but that's not going to be our first topic of the show. I'm starting with Monday Night Raw from last week. That's the angle that I've chosen as our main angle to open up today. It's CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, but I'll go through some pictures, not a full-on review, or I'm not going to give in-detail review. You guys could go back and look for this on the internet if you want to watch the whole scene, but I'll show some pictures, some things that I plucked out. CM Punk came out, and he beat Drew McIntyre, who they had been feuding for quite a while now already, and it seemed like a blow-off match because it was a strap match, and CM Punk won, right? Like, pretty much fair and square, no interference, nothing weird. So he just beat him clean, and then he comes out to gloat. He was very happy. He was talking up his victory. He was shining bright. His skin was glowing this night.
He was ready to challenge Gunther.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yes, he challenged Gunther. He mentioned Gunther by name. He's like, I want that World Heavyweight title. And then he went to the announce table, and I was like, well, is that it? Because I really wasn't expecting Drew to attack him because he lost. I was like, yeah, I guess so. I kind of was too. So right when he's, showboating to the crowd from the announce desk, he stood up on it, and that's when a masked, hooded figure, not masked, but hooded, but he's got Drew McIntyre's chest and everything, so obviously
it could be no one else.
Yeah, he's like the only guy that buff. So yeah, he takes off the hood and they reveal it's Drew, and it's not over for him. So they just did it like that. There wasn't really like a reason, but the reason is here's let me go through the pictures first, and then I'll get you guys' opinions about this. But okay, so Wade Barrett, the announcer, the commentator, tried to calm him down, which he's done that before when he's lost his mind, which is pretty cool. But this time he couldn't get him to stop. So Drew basically was like, he just continued the assault. He's got this demented look, dissociated look on his face, right? He's gone to another plane of existence. But he drags CM Punk into the ring, throws him into the ring. Staff tries to stop it, and then this is what happened that was significant on this scene. That damn bracelet that has been haunting this feud, the bracelet with CM Punk's wife and dog's name on it that has changed possession several times. Drew has stolen it, Punk stole it back, Drew stole it back. Now Drew took it back again, but this time he fucking destroyed it and into a million pieces. Oh, and then he shoved it into CM Punk's mouth and made him swallow it. So it was mayhem. It was absolute pandemonium. They're trying to get Drew McIntyre out of here, and here's a fierce picture of Drew McIntyre. He's just consumed by hatred, right? So Adam Pearce is trying to get him out of there, and they brought the gurney out right away. They were ready with that, like the EMTs and stuff. So they attend to CM Punk during the commercial break, and then when we came back from commercial break, they were taking Punk to the ambulance, and that's when Drew McIntyre cut him off at the pass again and attacked him very brutally, and got into his face, and CM Punk is bleeding from the mouth and everything. And so there you go. This was a good scene, according to Vlad. Well, Vlad's rating he gave it a fire rating. So on our Malapert Smart new rating system, we have above 2 thumbs up, and this was fire. And this is Vlad's first fire rating that he's ever given to any angle on our podcast so far.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I didn't give it to the angle where there was a literal fire, but that we'll discuss later. But this was definitely a fire segment.
All right, and then Robert gave it 2 thumbs up, so still a very, very strong rating. I think the highest rating basically is a 2 thumbs up to me. Once you're going into the fire part, you're saying that this is like one of the best things in wrestling history, I would say. So, all right, Vlad, well, I'll start the clock for you. I'll give you 90 seconds to give your thoughts about this. A very, very high rating for Vlad on this one. So.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe you would agree or not, but this is one of the best angles, not just in modern wrestling history, but maybe in all of wrestling history.
Oh, for sure.
There's been some questionable choices made in this thing. I'm not saying there hasn't been. At one point, it was just on fire, and everything they did was great. There's been some questionable things about the matches, I think, mostly, but the feud itself is crazy good. Like, this was a great segment. I mean, I was wondering how they would get Drew to get some of his heat back, and this was tremendous. I mean, he just annihilated Punk. I know he did something similar in Chicago on that Smackdown, but this time they actually showed most of it. On that Smackdown, he was just like picked him up, and he was already bloody, and we didn't really see the majority of the attack. It was just like we had to imagine what he did, right? Here, they showed it. It was
and
great.
He broke the bracelet.
I was about to get to that. He just broke the bracelet, which I hope kind of. I mean, it's cool that that's what they've been fighting over a little bit, kind of. But
no, it's good that it's gone, man.
It's good that it's gone. Yeah, I agree. I think it's good that it's gone because I think. So what's left for them to do? I mean, I think we kind of discussed that they probably will have like some sort of Hell in a Cell type match. I think that's the only way this thing could finish. And I'm going to assume that Punk will go over, like usually the babyface will, and Drew's a heel. But I mean, just kudos to both of these guys. They've done so well with this whole thing. I mean, it's just been off the charts. Just the best thing in wrestling for the past we're in September. Going on 8 to 9 months easily. So, kudos. Listen.
Well, let me move on to Robert. Robert, please go ahead. Your first review of the day. Yours was a 2 thumbs up, so you didn't move it into the fire rating, but still a really good rating. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Well, fire ratings, man, I don't know. There's very few segments that I would probably give a fire rating for. Like maybe that trial of the tribal chief that happened last year, I would have given that a fire rating. I thought that was awesome. This was very good though. This was awesome, and yes, for me, this is the best feud of the year, and it's not even close. It's not even close. Like who cares what the second best one is because it doesn't touch this. So I'm definitely all for this feud extending for as long as it has. And I believe we touched on it in last week's podcast when, I don't know which one of us brought it up, but as far as matches go, the record is tied 1-1. So one of them has to get that final victory. So no surprises here. And then part of the recap, CM Punk did say that this Raw was literally just a pit stop on his way to go home to see his wife, right? He mentioned that during his promo, and then he got attacked. So, boy,
it was perfect, man. That was beautiful. Beautiful work.
It's crazy. I love it. Nothing bad to say about this.
Definitely not. All right, well, I gave it 2 thumbs up also on my review on our posts. You could go to our review posts, our community posts on our YouTube page to see our reviews, but I gave it 2 thumbs up. I probably didn't move it up higher than that, only because I thought it was kind of a cold way to just bring his heat back, to just attack him after he'd already lost clean. Like, that kind of ruined it for me. Like, I was not excited to see this segment today. I was like, well, okay, if they continue, it really shouldn't, but okay.
But
the way they did it was good. The facial expressions, the intensity from Drew McIntyre, just the acting was fantastic. But
fantastic.
I guess there was that little bit of an inkling of they did this wrong that kind of took it a little bit away from me. Just a little bit. But that's the Malapert Smark in me criticizing this. But overall, it was really good. So I'm happy with it. All right, let's move on to the next segment. I'm going to jump to AEW. You guys talking about feud of the year. I have to beg to differ because the feud of the year, to me, is definitely going to be Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. And how could you not say? Well,
I'm not gonna no.
First of all,
no. Let Cam. I'm gonna let Cam talk most of this thing through. Go ahead, Cam. What's up? What's up?
Well, let me just say first.
Go ahead.
Let me just say first, because early in Dynamite, in the beginning of Dynamite, they played this video that they released earlier in the day on YouTube. So I had already seen this because I was just on my phone at work, and it came up that Swerve bought his childhood house, and he's happy with it. It was kind of a feel-good segment or whatever. And I saw it, and honestly, I thought nothing of it. I was like, ugh, this is kind of lame. This is a waste of time. Like, I'm like, these wrestlers are making too much money. That was the thought I got from this segment when I saw it on YouTube. I did not think they were going to use it in an angle. But anyways, so later in the night, the last segment of Dynamite on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, this was Wednesday the 4th, they were supposed to have a contract signing to, make the match official for All Out, right before the show is going to happen in a few days anyways, on Saturday. So 3 days before it happens, they're doing a contract signing. Swerve is waiting. Here's an image of everybody in the ring, Tony Schiavone, Prince Nana, and no one showed up. Hangman didn't show up. And then the video shows up on the screen of he's at Hangman's house. And I was like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. This is so good. So here's some pictures of Hangman. I don't know if he's got a cameraman or if he's just doing his own camera work. Is he doing, like, selfie camera work or something?
He's on his phone.
Something like that. So what's his name? Swerve is looking at him. He's obviously concerned and pissed off that he's in this home that, meant everything to him. They really played it up in that vignette about how, he lost the home because his family was poor and he promised to get it back one day and all that. His kids are going to grow up there. And what did Hangman say? Hangman said that his response to Swerve telling him that he's not going after success, only after revenge, and it's ruining his career. And Hangman said, no, you're wrong, because me getting success and getting revenge on you is the same exact thing. So he's got these demented looks on his face. And then the crowd starts seeing that he's got that gasoline container tank with him, and he's already pouring, and the crowd starts going crazy. Like, oh, my God. And that's when Swerve is like, no, like he's tripping out. And they left him out there for a long time to suffer, knowing what Hangman's going to do. And he's like really, really squirming. And in the final scene, Hangman, I guess he set this up for himself. He's demented. He has a nice couch and a table with a glass of whiskey ready to go. And he lights up a little match, a big match, and he throws it into the flame. And that's when the whole thing catches fire. Should we play how it looked, Vlad, when it caught fire?
I think that's very important.
This looked fake. Did this look fake? I mean, Robert, is this fake? I think they actually set a fire here, to be honest. But
it looks good.
It looked really good to me. It looked really good. Like, honestly, I thought it was like kind of crazy that he didn't get out of the way. Like, once it started getting like too big,
bro.
Like,
there's no way that was real. Are you guys insane?
You don't think it was real?
No, he wasn't there. Fucking there on a couch while there's like a fire 2 feet behind him. Like, you fucking nuts? You'd be.
Oh, he is nuts.
Well, yeah, okay, but
I don't know. I can't. To me, it looks real to me. I don't know that it seems like a CGI. Usually I can tell, but.
If it's real, then they're more insane in that company than even I.
I don't think that they thought. I don't think they thought the flames were going to get that big.
What did they think when he was putting gasoline everywhere?
Anyways, okay, we got to get to our ratings. My rating on this was a fire rating, just like you.
So a literal, yeah.
And 2 weeks in a row, a fire rating on this angle because I loved last week's exchange too. So yes, I absolutely love this, man. To me, this was the pinnacle of wrestling, and it set up their match perfectly so that I was interested to see what was going to happen. Yeah, to me, this is the pinnacle of wrestling. You don't like somebody, burn their house down. Yes.
Come on, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay. All right.
Well, look. Okay, Vlad's rating was a half a thumbs up, and Robert's rating was 2 thumbs up. So Robert liked it.
Why the hell did I give? Oh, probably just because it gave me a laugh is what I said. Okay, now
yeah, something like that because it was just so asinine and silly. But okay.
Look at the scene that you're showing.
All right, so you're not a fan of this. You're a critic. Let's hear your critique then. Come on, go ahead. You got a minute and a half or less, whatever you want to say. It's more
comedic. It was just comedic. It was just outrageously dumb looking. It was so totally fake. I mean, the scene where he's just sitting there. I mean, look how close to fire it is, bro. Like, who would just be sitting there? And he's committing.
He's gonna enjoy it, bro. He's gonna go drink his glass of whiskey, and he knows what. He's a man who knows what he likes. He likes revenge.
Real. I guess they've already done this type of stuff before, right? When Swerve did the breaking and entering, and he was fine. Nobody went to jail.
Exactly. Dude,
now you're committing
there's plenty of times in wrestling where people do illegal things and they don't get punished.
It's always bad. It's always
it's
done
in wrestling,
that.
dude. There's an agreement with law enforcement that if it's within the confines of wrestling, it's okay.
Hey, remember when Sting stole a police car?
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Exactly.
Well, he stole it, but he gave it back, so it's okay.
All right.
Well, actually, we don't know if he gave it back.
Vlad, come on, you got to admit the premise of this is really fucking great, though. Just the idea of like Swerve buying his childhood house back. It's something that it really did mean a lot to him, and
I think him burning it down would have been fine if he just wasn't sitting there, like literally. Everything, like literally the table that he's sitting on with the whiskey is on fire. Dude, how could that be real? It makes no sense. Like the scene is obviously fake and doctored, and they implanted him there in this scene. I don't know if they actually set something on fire or not. That's possible. I
think they actually bought a house to burn it down. That's how much these guys are willing to spend money for their art.
That's possible that they might have burned something down. But either way, no, obviously this was fake and stagey and stupid. And obviously I'm not a fan of this feud anyway, so no, I definitely do not stand by anything. And how could this be the pinnacle of wrestling? I have no idea, but okay. All right.
This is good wrestling. This is good wrestling. Look,
in premise, but not in the way they put it together, obviously. In premise, maybe they could have done it, but not this. Not the way they presented it.
Let me get Robert's thoughts. I'm sorry, but let me move on to Robert.
It's Robert's turn anyways.
Robert liked it though, not as much as me. He gave it 2 thumbs up. He loved that on our scale. That means he loved it.
I didn't even see that. Oh my god!
On our scale, it means he loved it. So before we get to the match, because at this point where we're sitting, we know what happened in the match. So separately from the match, we're going to cover that right after this in the next segment. But just for this segment, Robert, give your thoughts for this segment where he burned his house down. I know it was a few days ago now, but we still need, for posterity, this was like a really important thing that happened. Right. So go ahead.
Oh boy. If this is an example of what cowboy shit is like, I am so glad I don't personally know any cowboys, because damn. Oh my goodness.
His anger is so hilarious, man.
Good grief.
Hilarious.
Okay. All right. So earlier in the episode when they showed that segment of Swerve, buying this house, I thought like, what is this? This is so cheesy. Like, why are they showing this? Why are they showing this on an episode of Dynamite? It made no sense. True. I did, of course, none of us knew at the time this was just a setup for something that would happen later. Like, I did not guess that at all. So, okay, retrospectively, that makes sense that they show that. Yeah. But at that time, I was like, really? That was so random and cheesy, whatever.
Same.
But then they start showing the footage of Hangman Adam Page saying, "Whose house?" He's in Swerves, and he's up to no good. Okay, now I didn't think it looked bad at all. I thought it looked just fine to me. So I don't know.
If you were starting a fire and burning somebody's house down, you'd be sitting literally a foot from it in a chair.
I wouldn't. But
you think it's actually possible for someone to sit that close to a fire and not feel like they're burning? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. I have no experience in arson.
Well, I don't either, but just common sense would tell me that this is impossible.
I wouldn't do it, but I don't know if he's had experience doing that before, allegedly.
Well,
then maybe he knows. He probably knows better than me. But
this came from Tony Khan's conked out mind.
Yeah. So I actually enjoyed this a lot. I wasn't a fan of this feud. The fact that they were feuding to begin with, again after having 3 matches in the past.
Yeah.
But this segment, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool.
Well, my only criticism, if I were to give a criticism, was that when he was given his whole spiel, his diatribe about getting into Swerve's head and telling him all the stuff he was telling him, they kind of left Swerve out there for a really long time to dangle in the wind and act like it was like for like fucking 10 minutes where he's just like squirming and just like, oh my god, it was a long time. So they could have sped that up. But the premise of it to me is really hilarious and great. So I'm a fan of this feud, and I'm a fan of Hangman Page. I'm a fan of Hangman Page. If anyone's like, Hangman sucks or whatever, no one likes him, I like him. I like his character. I like his character arc. I am a fan of his, So let me move on, though. I'm going to move on straight to the match. So we're just going to jump. We're going to stay on the same topic. We're going to go to All Out. We're not going to talk about the whole thing, but let me jump to this. Give me 1 second, guys. So here it is. We got Hangman Page coming out. Oh, I was watching some of the pre-show, and I saw him come out with security, which I thought made sense. That, after what he did, obviously someone's going to try to murder him. So he came out with a security detail, and he brought them out to the ring. So at least that made sense to me. Here comes Swerve, and Nana's there with him trying to do the dance still. Not as, happy. He still does the dance, but, just kind of subdued version. But anyways, the match starts. Immediately, Swerve is going to try to, decapitate Hangman, get his head cut off with a ring coming down. So they're already getting pretty violent right off the bat, which makes sense. So these guys have had many violent matches already, so they have to top. They have a lot of things to top. It's going to be very hard to top what they've already done so far. But here we go. So staples, I'm going to just skip over everything, but, just to gloss over it, these stapled photographs, Swerve stapled photographs to Hangman's face, Hangman stapled Swerve's chest, and here's just a picture of Hangman being bloody. Here's Nana outside the cage. They're trying to stab each other. They had sharp objects. There was a tool chest in the ring that they would get stuff out of, and here's Swerve trying to stab Hangman. And there was a cinder block. I think that was played very heavily into the ending when Hangman powerbombed Swerve into the cinder block, right? That led very much towards the end. And I think they got, Hangman got the steel chair, and Swerve was no-selling the steel chair shots. He got up and did his crazy Batman thing, but he basically just fell over after that. So that was the end for him. Hangman did get the best of him, but Swerve just fell down in a heap, and this was where the weird stuff happened. I was wondering what was going to be the end of the show, because as the ending was coming and I saw there was 8 minutes left, I was like, man, something crazy has got to happen to end this match. So first he yanks out his grill. So Vlad said that he thinks that seems painful. It wouldn't be this easy. I don't know how a grill works. I don't know if it's removable like that. But anyway, so he takes off Swerve's teeth. He's got this crazy look on his face, and he gets a needle, some syringe with an unknown thing, and pokes it into Swerve's mouth, and injects him with some unknown foreign substance. And here's a picture of Swerve with a needle sticking out of the inside of his mouth, the inside of his cheek. And the final blow was like a really bad chair shot to the head, like a nasty looking one that just sent Swerve to his death. And the referee just stopped the fight, so they rang the bell from there. And Hangman's walking out, and I guess the feud's not over, but he's very happy for the night. He was like, "Yes, I did it." You know, he was just letting out his emotions. But let me see what I got from you guys on this. I got half a thumbs up from Vlad, and I got a thumbs down from Robert. So I think I did get some text messages from you saying this isn't your thing. You were telling me you didn't want to spoil it, so you didn't, tell me what happened. But you're like, yeah, it was too violent for me and my liking. But all right, let's hear some thoughts from you. Thumbs down from Robert on this one, but you got 90 seconds or however much time you need.
All right. So as you know, I watch a lot of wrestling. So do you guys. On a weekly basis, I try to watch as much as I can. And one of the things that really annoy me is that on almost every episode of any given show that I watch, commentators really try to oversell everything. Like, I have never seen anybody stoop so low. Like, how can anyone do something like that to another person? And you know what I mean? They oversell everything. Like whenever someone does something crazy, it's like the craziest thing they've ever seen, and they oversell it. And then every time I hear that, it kind of like roll my eyes because they literally just said that a week ago. The episode before that, I see that on almost every Raw, Smackdown, Dynamite, pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever, right? This match is probably one of the rare occasions. Well, actually, I don't remember what the commentary team said, but yeah, assuming they did say stuff like that, this match is one of the rare occasions where I wouldn't roll my eyes because this is some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. And personally, it was too much for me. I guess I should thank Hangman Adam Page and Swerve because I never knew how much I could really stomach in a wrestling match before I watched this one. Now I know. I never knew before. Now I do. And this was too much for my taste.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
It was a little much. A
lot of it was the cinder block, the chair shot.
The chair shot.
Yeah, and then okay. Let's talk about the cinder. I know I'm out of time, but let's talk about the cinder block real quick.
You go, man. You
go for as long as you want.
Yeah.
I heard reports that Swerve Strickland just recently signed a crazy, ridiculous contract. Like it's huge amount of money. I don't know the details of how much it is, but it's allegedly
significant.
Very significant.
Very significant.
Why? This doesn't make sense. Why would you potentially injure him right after offering such a lucrative contract? Because some of the risks that they were taking were just outrageous. Like, why would you do that? So I don't know, man. That didn't make sense. I was looking forward to this match, but this was just too much for me personally. So that's why I gave it a thumbs down.
All right, well, let me jump over to Vlad. Let me reset the clock to 90 seconds. If you need more time, it's all good, but there you go. So you were willing to give it a half an Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
At least a half thumbs up.
That's right.
Not a full thumbs up, but
No.
You also didn't give it a thumbs down. So I think that you mentioned something in your comments about it being
it's a spectacle. Well, a spectacle, yeah. It was a show. I knew what it was going to be. I knew they were going to try to top their last match where they were blading and drinking each other's blood. So that's why I'm kind of confused, Robert, because you said you couldn't stomach that one. I thought the other one was worse. That's why I'm kind of. I thought so.
The needle spot was a little excessive.
The needle spot.
Don't like needles.
Yeah. So he gave him AIDS. Big deal. I mean,
and a power bomb on a cinder block.
I'm gonna assume. Well, maybe not because it did leave a bruise on But I would think the cinder block had to be gimmicked. Like, there's no way they would use a real cinder block. Like, that's insane.
Well, there was a welt mark from when Hangman took a powerbomb onto
and I was thinking
cinder
that,
block, and it didn't break. It looked like it was pretty sturdy because they threw it around and it didn't burst into powder. But that's okay. True.
Well,
it was a spectacle. It was at least some, like, it was, the extremeness of it made it worth watching to you, at least. It was a
of course it was, but of course it was insane. I mean, the stuff they were kicking out of, and every time, like, what Robert mentioned, like, what were the announcers saying? All they kept saying was, like, it's incredible that these guys are kicking out of this stuff. Like, no, it's not incredible. It's impossible. Like, if somebody hit with a cinder block, you'd be dead. You'd be laid out unconscious. You'd be in a coma. You wouldn't just be able to kick out. Like, the pride these guys are showing, the will, things like that. Like, come on, bro. Like, I felt bad for Jim Ross to be there at the end commenting on the stupid stuff that was going on in this ring. Of course, it was idiotic. It was stupid. It was all AEW. It was everything that's indie and AEW. But it was a show. It was a spectacle. I knew what it was going to be. I knew exactly what it was going to be. I had no... some spots I didn't know. Like, I didn't know they were going to use a freaking needle or something like that. But I knew they were going to try to, like, make it, like, as extreme and as violent as possible. As possible. So, yeah, whatever. It was what it was.
All right. Well, I gave it 2 thumbs up also. I mean, what can I say? It made sense to me based on the feud, based on how much the hatred. They had to go to an extreme like this, okay?
Yeah.
And I thought it was good, man. I don't know if Robert is squeamish. I'm sorry, man.
I guess
you gotta man up, bro. You gotta man up. But to me, this was good wrestling, man. It was.
No, it wasn't good wrestling.
It was good wrestling.
This was indie bullshit. Let's not kid ourselves. I've never said that. Just because I gave it a thumbs up. The only reason I gave it a half a thumbs up is because I knew what it was going to be. I knew it was going to be indie bullshit. I knew they were going to do some stupid shit like this, but I was willing to watch it anyways, see what happens. But let's not call it good wrestling, dude. That's ridiculous. It's just stupid. It was mindless crap.
Along with the thing we're going to talk about next with what happened with Brian Danielson and the Blackpool Combat Club, and also the other thing we're going to talk about a little later with MJF and Daniel Garcia, I'm going to declare it, man. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to make a big headline for a thumbnail. AEW is back, baby. Because everyone was saying they were going to die. They're going to go out of business. And then suddenly here they come after All In with all these storylines and all these intense storylines, man. WWE don't got this. Well, they do with Punk and McIntyre, I will say. The Punk and McIntyre thing is the only thing that's like, everything else is like them with Gunther and Sami Zayn talking and Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes having a nice friendly handshake, friend match. Like, come on, man. I don't want to see that. I want to see someone burning a motherfucker's house down because he doesn't fucking like him. Okay? And then he probably injected him with something. I don't know what. My guess is he injected him with his own blood. So he's going to say, I drank your blood, and now you got my blood and you, and we're going to be linked forever because these two are going to be linked forever.
All right. Oh, well, no comments. I don't have no comment on that one. I will not comment any further on that. That's all. I'm glad you liked it, Karen.
Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to move on though. I'm going to move on to the next angle we got. The next angle we got is Brian Danielson versus Jack Perry. So the match. So we're just going to talk about the match they had. This was for the world title. Jack Perry's going in to try to retire Danielson because this is whenever he loses a title, supposedly it's going to be his last match. So I'm not going to really show a lot of the match. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a well-worked match. That's one thing I was saying about this in the feud leading up to it, that I was like, man, I think Jack Perry's an excellent worker in the ring, and I think once they get in there, it's going to be really good. But I'll just jump to the finish just to explain what happened so we can comment on the match. But the referee went down, and Danielson was going to kick Jack Perry's fucking head in the way he promised, right? But that's when the Elite came in, just the Bucks. I thought, maybe this might get crazier and all of the Elite would come, but just the Young Bucks. And then they got chased off by the Blackpool Combat Club. So Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli came in and ran off the Young Bucks. So they left Jack Perry and Danielson in the ring, and Danielson basically like hulked up and got, all this energy out of nowhere. And Jack Perry like slapped him a bunch of times, which really made Danielson mad. And then that led to like the finishing series where Danielson did kick him in the face a bunch of times, but I thought he could have done that a little harder, to be honest. It didn't really look that good to me. It could have been a little stiffer. But anyway, so that was the ending. Basically, he's going to hit the Psycho knee and pin Jack Perry. Good match, I thought. Excellent match. Let's see what your ratings were on this. Vlad gave it a thumbs up, and then Robert also gave it a thumbs up. So, all right, so before we move on to the afterbirth, any comments you guys want to give just about the match itself, the angle of Danielson defeating Jack Perry to retain the World Heavyweight title? So I'll start with Vlad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good match. It was exactly kind of what I thought it would be. It would be a match where Danielson would have to kind of carry it and call a lot of the match, and it ended up making a lot of sense, and the crowd was into it, and the heat for Jack Perry in Chicago was still there because of the whole Punk connection. The fact that it was in Chicago actually added to this match quite a bit, honestly, because the crowd... Because usually I think the crowd wouldn't really give a shit about Jack Perry, to be honest with you. But here they actually did. And they really did not want him to retire Brian Danielson, for sure. That would have been, like, awful, right? So, I mean, it worked. It was a well-worked match. They did a lot of good stuff. The referee bump was fine. The lead coming, everything made sense. Everything was logical. Everything was pretty smooth. And Danielson is just one of the great wrestlers of all time. I mean, not just. I mean, yeah, I have some, things about how, modern style and whatnot, but he is a tremendous, tremendous talent. I mean, you could say a lot of things about him, but he is just an incredible worker. He can make anyone really look pretty good, and I even thought he made Jack Perry look like a legit wrestler for the first time in a long time. So I thought that was a good job by him. So. Anyways, good match. I mean, what else can you say? It's a shame that he does have to retire at some point, but at least he's going to give us a little bit of something still, so that's good.
All right, well, before I jump over to Robert and get his review, because he gave it a thumbs up, I will just mention that I gave this match 2 thumbs up. I thought this was
really?
excellent. I thought this was so good. I'm very impressed with Jack Perry, back to the days when he was facing Christian in matches. Like, yeah, the angles and the talking and the promos and the character work are all, a work in progress, I guess you could say. But the work in the ring, oh my God, the selling, fantastic, man. WWE could use a guy who could work this well, and, if they could rework his character or something. So I think it was great. And Danielson together, too, both of them together. Great match. I think it was really good. So, Robert, however much you want to use of this 90 seconds, you gave it a thumbs up, so let's hear what your thoughts are about this.
Okay. So out of all the segments and matches that I gave ratings for this past week, this was the toughest one for me to rate. And I'll explain why. So if I were to grade this on a curve, right, comparing this to other Jack Perry matches, this one would get a 2 thumbs up for me.
Sure.
Right? Grading on a curve, all right? I'm taking into consideration all of Jack Perry's matches that I've seen, that I can remember. 2 thumbs up for sure, right?
Yeah.
However, this is also a Brian Danielson match, and there are he has quite a few matches that I easily give a 2 thumbs up for, that I think are superior to this.
Yeah.
So I guess by that logic, I can't give this match a 2 thumbs up, because I think those other matches that I would give 2 thumbs up for Brian Danielson are still better than this. So that's why I just gave it 1, which is not a bad rating at all.
Oh.
But again, if this is just grading on a curve compared to other Jack Perry matches, for sure 2 thumbs up. But I was very conflicted on this one as far as like what the actual rating was. I did enjoy this. Jack Perry, you did good, man. Awesome. And well, maybe it does help that you had Brian Danielson in the ring with you, obviously.
For sure.
But
for sure.
This shows what your potential is, what Jack Perry's potential is. So I hope to see more matches like this from him. But I don't know how many of those we'll see, but we'll see.
All right, well, let's move along from Jack Perry, but we'll stick with what happened here. So we're just going to jump straight to the afterbirth of this. This is going to be the next angle that we're discussing here. So right after Danielson retained the title against Jack Perry here at All Out 2024 in the year of our Lord, some shit went down. So here it started with Luchasaurus. I forgot about this, actually. So Luchasaurus comes from behind to he's sneaking up behind Danielson, and he's had history with Jack Perry. Obviously, they were Jurassic Express before Luchasaurus became Killswitch and joined Christian's patriarchy.
Well, what a tag team that was.
So, yes, but here comes Christian. So Christian won that contract at the Casino Gauntlet at All In. So I guess it's like basically a Money in the Bank type of thing. Right?
Yeah,
so
I guess it is. I didn't even realize it was like that.
Yeah, I guess he could just choose whenever he wants to cash in, and Danielson's just had a rough match.
Yeah.
Maybe they can jump him and get like an advantage, but nope. John Moxley of Danielson's group, the Blackpool Combat Club, cuts him off at the pass, and they retreat. They back off. No, let's save this contract for another time. And Danielson's pretty happy about it. It's like, yep, my boys are here to back me up. No way you're going to get through them, man. Shit. And then Moxley jumps in the ring, gives Danielson a hug, and that's when it happened. I guess it came from behind. Claudio gave him a big uppercut to Danielson, and then Moxley gets a plastic bag from behind Danielson and basically is suffocating him, right? Like, here's Marina Shafir, so here's their bodyguard, the muscle of the group. And
she's bigger than most of them. So
they're trying to suffocate Brian Danielson and murder him. And Wheeler Yuta apparently was not in on this, so he's like trying to stop him, but Pac is holding him back. And here's a picture of Wheeler Yuta crying for his mentor being murdered, and the crowd did chant, "This is murder," right? This is murder. So,
that's exactly what they chanted.
Here's a picture of the commentary team before they're about to watch that lights out cage match with the Hangman Page. And here's what you see. That's why that Hangman Page Swerve Strickland match had to be extra hardcore. Because look at what just happened here, you know? So, of course, they had to top this. You know what I mean? Anyways, so what are our ratings for this angle here at All Out? So I got the afterbirth. I got a thumbs down from Vlad, and I got an indifferent from Robert. So Robert didn't give it a thumbs down or a thumbs up. I gave this 2 thumbs up. I fucking love this.
Christ, man. All right.
But all right, let me start with Robert. So Robert's he can't bring himself to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So explain your thinking of how you're liking this.
Okay, so I was liking it up until a certain point. So when Christian Cage showed up, I kind of marked out. I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised. Yeah, I was marking out at that moment. I was like, wait, is this really gonna happen? Because I'm not as big of a Christian Cage fan as you are, Cam, but I do like him. I am a fan for sure. So if he had taken the title, I would have been happy with that. But yeah, I was like, man, this is not actually happening, is it? So, but then that got interrupted. I was like, okay, I guess not. And then the turn from the I was about to say BCC on Brian Danielson. I was okay with the turn as well, and so far I was liking it up to that point until John Moxley did what he did with suffocating him.
So you think the suffocating thing is going too far again, like the needles? You don't think they should be suffocating things and injecting things?
The look on Jim Ross's face and basically
this
the whole
disgusting.
team.
What is he doing?
Yeah,
he said there's no place in wrestling for something like this. So at least he was trying to sell it. Right?
Yeah. He was trying his best,
yeah,
but he was really saying what he thought.
I could maybe, I don't know, I could probably give this maybe an Orange Cassidy thumbs up, maybe, because I was liking it up until that very end. That's where it ruined it for me.
Yeah.
All right, so Vlad with the straight up thumbs down. So Vlad thinks this was bad. Give your review,
Yes.
Vlad, please. 90
Yeah, I
seconds.
pretty much agree exactly with what Robert said. I liked it up until Moxley did what he did. I don't know whose idea it was, but obviously it's fucking retarded. You know, like what, you're gonna suffocate the guy to death? I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, come on, it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's nonsensical. It's AEW just doing some things right, and then other things that are just they can't help themselves. They can't get out of their own way because it's not. No one's going to believe that you're trying to murder some. And why do they hate him so much? To do that to him, like you would think that he's like wronged them so such an. I mean, it's insane. Like what? He's suffocating.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was waiting for my turn to talk, but you're asking like, yeah, why are they doing this to him? It's because they must really hate him. They must have like just decided fuck this guy.
But to this point, I mean, couldn't they have just like tried to like, okay, I know he has neck issues. Could they have tried to take out his neck? Okay, could they have tried to like do something else? But the suffocating thing is so stupid and so silly that
they didn't actually kill him, man. They just brought him to the point where he almost died. They're just trying to freak him out and scare him.
But
show him that they don't like him.
Moxley knows the point. You could suffocate someone just right before he dies, just to scare him and give him a jolt to the system, right? Come on, man, it's ridiculous. It was silly. Even
I would say Moxley should know that skill to bring someone to the brink of death. He's a warrior. Yes.
Come on, bro. It was silly. It was silly. The only other thing I want to mention is like, I didn't realize the Christian. I mean, I don't really pay attention to a lot of these things in AEW, but I didn't realize it was like Money in the Bank type of thing where you could just cash it in type of situation. So I was fine with pretty much everything. I was fine with that though, but I was fine with everything up until Moxley did what he did, and then it was kind of ruined for me. They could have done a whole injury angle, and they're carrying him out. They're not even stretchering him out. What the hell is this? Like Tony doesn't have enough money to pay for a stretcher, or there wasn't enough time to get a stretcher in the ring. They just had to carry him out. Like, what the hell?
It's urgent. They got to get him to the back for medical care, man. Quickly.
Yeah. Well, I will say the oxygen was fine. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Ken. I
will say, because I'm the only one out of the three of us who actually gave this a good rating, that I liked this and I enjoyed it. But
you gave it 2 thumbs up?
I gave it 2 thumbs up. I have no qualms about the suffocation spot. I liked it. And I also want to give praise to the angle in general of this. This has been building up from last Wednesday's Dynamite and the one before that for the mystery of Moxley and Marina Shafir and how they're showing up and kicking everyone's ass and beating up security guards in the back. Here's some clips from Dynamite. We didn't do a review of this on this show, but our review of this is over there. But yeah, so, slow build to that of like what is going on with Moxley and Marina. So then that turned into them turning on Danielson. So I kind of like that aspect of it because I was waiting to see what was going to happen with all that. And something significant did happen, and it was really shocking. And good, honestly.
Yeah, I don't mind the turn. I don't mind that part. That part is all fine. I don't mind them turning on Danielson. I think they could set up a nice angle. I just don't like the stupid stuff where he's not going to be able to suffocate him to death, bro. And I don't care what you say. Moxley doesn't know how to fucking suffocate someone. Okay, he wouldn't know how to do that and just scare them. I'm sorry, no, you wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, so. I understand, like, people are like, well, obviously the bag was gimmicked. Well, I should fucking hope the fucking bag was gimmicked and it had, like, holes in it or whatever. I mean, I should hope so, but that's the least of the issues. The issues that they made it seem like he was trying to murder Brian Danielson for reasons we don't even understand. So, yeah, no, obviously I'm not a fan of that. But if they did, like, an injury angle where they try to, like, cripple him or whatever, like, that would have been better. Like, going for his neck or something. I mean, I would have liked an explanation, but they could have explained that, like, on Dynamite. That I would have been okay with that. Maybe I would have given it a thumbs up, but this, no.
All right, well, we've done 5 angles for the night so far, so everything after this, I'm going to switch the clock down from 90 seconds to 60 seconds, just so we could get the show moving a little bit quicker and get out of here. But I just want to move on to, like, a couple more things, not that many things more, but I do want to mention MJF because he is really good, and he's feuding with Daniel Garcia, a feud that's been getting mixed reviews from our panelists. I usually have been liking it. Vlad has been kind of down because he's just not buying Daniel Garcia at all as a wrestler. But anyway, so I'm going to review what happened on Dynamite and then on All Out separately. So I'm going to start with Dynamite first. So this was on Wednesday the 4th, a few days ago now. And Garcia came out to call MJF's ass out to open the show, to open Dynamite. And MJF was sitting in like a booth and he had a glass of alcohol and he was drinking. They had a long conversation. I honestly don't remember a lot of it. I remember some of it, but I could... From what I remember, just from the top of my head, Daniel Garcia, who wants revenge on MJF at this point, said that he's going to end his career. You know, he told this long story about how when you take your children to school, they're going to ask, hey, you used to be a wrestler, and MJF's going to have to tell them, yeah, I used to be until Daniel Garcia ended my career. And
Can you imagine?
I do.
Good God. Getting your career ended by this guy. Good God.
I do, okay. I do get some of your point, Vlad, when I was listening to Daniel Garcia, because I was looking, I do this when I look for thumbnails. Like, I go slowly, and I'm looking through, like, for, like, a good facial expression or a good, like, you know, and I just didn't see many from him. You know what I mean? Like, he does have, like, a kind of a blank face, I'll tell you. Sometimes he's just not very expressive with himself. Doesn't have a lot of charisma. Very normal in a way. So I guess I see your point there for that, you know what I mean? But anyways, I'm going to move on with just telling you what happened in this segment before I get some thoughts from you guys on this segment in particular. But MJF, I think the way it ended, he basically retorted with talking about Daniel Garcia's mother, right? He just went straight to that, saying how she was promiscuous or something, and Daniel Garcia basically I'm paraphrasing. No,
that's right. That's what he said.
And then here's MJF's face when he's, you know, tells him that terrible, awful thing. And I think that sent Daniel Garcia over the edge to send him into the crowd and try to fight through security and get to MJF. And then this is where he got to him, and MJF just fucking cracked him on the head.
I laughed so hard, bro.
A glass, I guess.
I don't think I've laughed harder watching AEW in a long time when he cracked him. I was like, that was fucking perfect.
Yeah, and MJF brushes himself off here, made it look easy, and then he grabs him, and I think he says some stuff to him. I don't really remember what he said, but the important thing was that he kissed him in his bloody forehead.
Why they do that type of stuff?
Yeah,
the licking that's disgusting, bro.
And then he's got the blood all over his face too, which is like a really funny look. It's a really funny image of MJF with Daniel Garcia's blood all over his lips because he just kissed him right there. But anyways, MJF walks off, and so there's that. Okay, so before we get to the match at All Out, because we do have the results, I'll give your reviews of this. So Vlad gave this a thumbs up, and Robert gave this 2 thumbs up. So Robert liked this segment. I also gave this 2 thumbs up. So I'll start with Robert. You have a minute to discuss this segment from Dynamite before we go to All Out.
All right. Well, I'm probably not going to need a whole minute. I'll just keep this really brief. I thought this was really, really good. Just like the week before, they had a really cool segment. I think the week before it was a lot more intense than this one, but this was still, to me, pretty awesome. MJF, man, I hope he never turns face again, because him as a heel is so much better. His work as a heel is ridiculously good. I please don't ever turn face again, because he's a lot more interesting this way. And then, you know what, Daniel Garcia, I don't know, maybe MJF is bringing out the best in him. He's done pretty well the past couple weeks. His promos aren't so bad. Usually it's kind of cringe, but I thought he was just fine, and I thought this was good.
Yes, Robert, I'm with you. 2 thumbs up. I think he did well in this feud with MJF. I thought it carried well. I don't know. Vlad says he didn't buy it. He doesn't like that Daniel Garcia is even in this feud with someone as high profile as MJF. He doesn't think he deserves it, right? But I thought it worked. But all right, let's get your review just to this segment. So just a thumbs up though. So we got a good review from you finally for this Daniel Garcia thing.
Oh, I liked it because of like I said, when he cracked him, I thought that was really well done. The camera work actually, for the first time, they actually caught it perfectly. Usually, like AEW would screw this up, and they'd have the camera pointed in the wrong direction or something, and it would. But this one they got perfectly. It was like he nailed them, and they got it just right. So I like that aspect of things. Yeah, they talked a lot. It was, they said that they would end each other's careers, and they mentioned each other's families. I mean, the stuff that MJF was always kind of known for in his heel stuff. I think the stuff that Daniel Garcia was saying was kind of heelish. So it was kind of weird. Like, I'm going to cripple you, and you're going to go to your kids are going to see that I retired. I mean, that was, I don't know. I mean, I understand why I guess they're trying to say like he's just gone crazy after he tried to injure him, which I understand in a sense, but still it was kind of heelish. But it was a good segment. I mean, the only reason I didn't give it 2 thumbs up probably is the fact that he's working with who he's working with, but otherwise, I enjoyed it. I did, because I enjoy a lot of MJF segments, so this is no surprise there.
Yeah, the blood feud seems to be a thing that Tony Khan is using in his booking a lot recently. He seems to be a fan of the unending hatred of I'm going to follow you until I'm dead or until you're dead, either one. So he's got 2 of them now. Daniel Garcia and MJF will never stop fighting, and Swerve and Hangman will never stop fighting. I don't know.
These two better stop fighting. Is all I have to say.
According to Daniel Garcia, he's never going to let it go. But okay, all right. Let's move on to All Out. So let's move on to Sunday night. Or Saturday night, the pay-per-view was actually. By the way, reminder, let me just say again, if anyone's just tuning into this segment, subscribe to our YouTube, please, and follow us on X. I'm posting a lot on X recently. Cool. If you want to get our thoughts. I'm not on there all the time, but if I'm, not doing anything and I get a thought for a match or something early, you might get some early thoughts before our podcast. So I'm giving a plug to our X. We want some more followers there. Would be nice. But yeah, I am working on that more. And if you're not subscribed on the YouTube, please subscribe to that. Also, we're trying to get to 500 so we can make some money off this, make some more shows, do some more wrestling reviews. So help us out with that. But let's get to our review of All Out. So we've jumped in from Dynamite to All Out. This is MJF versus Daniel Garcia. So the angle for today was a match. They were going to have a match, and I'm not really going to go over the match. Okay, I'll go over the finish. MJF got the pin. Good match, right? They had a good match. This is them at the end when they're laying on each other, tired and exhausted from this incredibly hard match they had. And MJF was going to shake hands after everything that, they've been through and said about each other. MJF was going to offer to shake his hand. But it was a ruse. He was going to try to kick him in the balls, I guess. And Daniel Garcia caught him by the leg and proceeded to beat MJF mercilessly and leave him humiliated and embarrassed in front of the crowd before he runs off, before staff comes to break it up. But there you go. So the angle was basically MJF won the match, but Daniel Garcia got the better of him physically at the end. So Daniel Garcia beat his ass and humiliated him and got back at him. So, Vlad, I had questions about your review of this because you gave it
Did I not give it a rating?
You gave it a thumbs up, but you mentioned that you only liked the match and you didn't like the angle afterwards. So you're still giving it a thumbs up overall. But I would think that if you didn't like the angle afterwards, you would give it a thumbs down, despite it being a good match. But okay, all right. And then Robert also gave this. Robert, I don't have your rating for this.
One thumb.
Thumbs up from Robert.
Yeah,
okay, so both of you guys thumbs up. I also gave this a thumbs up. I didn't mind the idea of, well, MJF got the win. He deserves the win. He's better. He's more over. And then he gave something back a little bit to the guy. I don't know. Vlad doesn't want MJF giving anything back to Daniel Garcia, guy. I guess. But okay. All right, I'll start with you then. You go first. 60 seconds on the clock.
Well, the match itself, I thoroughly enjoyed. It was probably my favorite match of the night. It was, I think, the best match of the night, in fact.
So Daniel Garcia can work then, huh? According to Vlad. There you go.
He can work. I mean, how much credit he gets is up to you. If you want to give him the credit that it was a good work match, or just that MJF again, carried the guy. It's up to you however you want to, come up with that decision. You could come up with it on your own. But the match itself was, I thought, really, really good. I enjoyed it. I it was kind of downhill after that for me for the rest of the card. So it opened the show, and I was like, "Oh boy, MJF just went, and it's going to be a long show afterwards." But the post thing where he leaves him laying is, I mean, I don't know, man. I just think of like, I look at Daniel Garcia as an undercard guy. I'm sorry. And I don't see Ric Flair or Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan or guys getting laid out by some middle card, undercard jabroni. I'm sorry. I mean, I know it's, whatever. Jabroni's kind of an
those guys
term.
didn't want to elevate anybody. They didn't want to help anybody out in the business.
Yeah,
they wanted all the money for themselves.
Sure, I understand that. But Daniel Garcia is not ready to be elevated at that level. I mean, look how hard he had to actually beat him. That would be another critique of the thing, but it was absurd. I mean, he basically had to work as hard as he did with Ospreay, if not even harder. So I think there were some issues with that, but overall, I can't say I didn't like the match. I did like it, but I really did not like the post match of undercard guy getting the best of basically the biggest star of the company in my opinion. So no, did not like that.
All right, well, let me jump to Robert. So Robert gave it a thumbs up also for the angle. MJF won the match. Daniel Garcia kicked his ass after the match. Any thoughts you have on this, Robert?
Yeah, so I didn't mind anything that happened, the match, how it went down, and what happened afterwards. I just viewed this as MJF giving Daniel Garcia the rub. That's simple to me. But okay, now I gave this one thumbs up. I need to provide some context though. I was eating dinner at the same while I was watching this match, and I think that was a bad idea because there was some parts of this match where like you saw a lot of snot from
the snot
from Daniel Garcia, and then you saw spit on their faces. It was disgusting. I was like, oh
they
man.
They both spit at each other.
So me eating dinner at the same time as watching this was probably not a good idea. I should have eaten it before or after. I don't know if that had any effect on my rating, but it was still a good match. And what Daniel Garcia did to MJF at the end was understandable. I would say MJF had it coming. So
did he spit in his face?
Okay, that's fine. My biggest thing is, do you think, Robert, that Daniel Garcia should be elevated? Like, is he a guy that you would elevate to that level that he should be able to lay MJF out, spit in his face, lay him out, and that's that? Like, is he at that level? Do you see him at that level?
Not at the moment. I don't know what everybody else sees in him, and management. Maybe they see potential in him. Maybe, I don't know, but at the moment,
well, whether you see potential in him, whether you see potential in him or not, Vlad, he is a staple on this show, and he's going to be. So you got to give him something to make him look good. He could brag about this now. Like, he could say, "Yeah, I'm the guy that fucking laid out MJF. He don't want a piece of me." You know what I mean? At least so that when we see him, Daniel Garcia coming up in the future for the next few years, at least we have something to like think of and make him feel like he's not a jabroni, because he is going to be on the show. Maybe he's going to be a main eventer or not. I still think it helps him. But
I think it should be noted. This is something I should not forget to mention. Never once during this whole match did Daniel Garcia ever do the dance.
Yeah, I know. That's a little sad to me, but he didn't win.
I think the dance is over. I think the dance is over.
The dance is not over. When he becomes world heavyweight champion, will do the dance again.
No,
I know.
I'll say this for Garcia. I don't think he's like a bad worker. I think he has some skills as far as the ability to do stuff. I just think he's not at that level where you should be elevated on this level. He's not there yet. I don't know if he's going to be. I don't really see it. I don't see any interesting character potential for him. I think he's just a bland guy that can wrestle, which there are plenty of, and that's okay. But he could be in the mid card. Why is that so bad? Like, not everybody can be the world champion. Not everybody can be the main star in a company. Some guys have to be in the undercard.
He might have to be, because WWE keep taking everybody that AEW build up So maybe Daniel Garcia is going to be the one guy that they can keep. So they got to
took
build
two guys that were obviously that had worked there previously. Punk.
They took Ethan Page. They're going to take
Ethan Page,
Ricky Starks.
Ricky
too,
Starks
is coming next. Yeah, man. They try to start building Ricky Starks, and then I think maybe Tony Khan's getting to that point where he's thinking like, you know what, if I'm gonna put guys over, I gotta put guys over that are gonna stay here at least. And Daniel Garcia seems like a safe bet that maybe at least he'll stay.
That's true.
But anyways,
I'm okay with whatever. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Good debate. Let's move on to a couple more angles, I guess, if you guys have time. If anyone needs to go to bed, I understand. I'll do it myself. Whatever. But if you want to stick around here,
we can finish it. I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look. I guess one thing I should mention, we'll jump back to WWE. That's enough AEW talk for the night. Let's close the book on AEW. But I'll jump back to SmackDown from the 6th. And this is Friday night. A couple nights ago as we're recording this on a Sunday night here. The week is over, but we're looking back on it here. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube, please, and follow us on X for more posts and thoughts. But yeah, so we're here at SmackDown. Solo was once again in the ring to talk to Cody about the next title shot. You know, he believes he deserves another one after Roman ruined his last one. But Cody kind of tried to drive a wedge. I think that's something that's starting now between him and Jacob Fatu, because Cody was telling Jacob Fatu, like, you're the one who needs to step up, right? But Jacob's like, no, he pledged his loyalty to his tribal chief. I love you, Solo, right? And
you were my tribal chief. Yeah.
Yes. So it was worth a shot, but it didn't work, I guess. I don't know. But so Solo wants this match, and I think somehow or another, I don't really remember exactly how they came to the agreement, or it was Nick Aldis, right? Nick Aldis called it a steel cage match. Was he the one?
I think that's right, because he wanted no interference or something.
Yeah, so this became like a big melee where the Bloodline was going to get in the ring and attack Cody, but Cody had backup and some baby faces from the Street Profits and DIY, but that became another thing. But I think for this segment, I just want to talk about the fact that the steel cage match is set up for next week, so we're not really going to do a review of this one in particular, although all of us gave this a thumbs up just for the fact that we got an announcement that a steel cage match, I guess. So I'll start with Vlad on this one. What do you expect out of the steel cage match? Any thoughts for what
I think it's going to predict? I actually was very excited. I think it's going to be great. I mean, I think it's like the premiere episode. They're leaving Fox, going back. They're going to the USA Network, right, for SmackDown. So this was like the last one on Fox. It's going to be they're going to make it a big show. I assume that Roman will be back, and there'll be some other shenanigans going on. I know.
You think Roman will interfere in this again?
I think so.
Oh,
I think the Bloodline will interfere, and I think Roman will interfere, and I think there'll be some crazy stuff going on, and it's going to be a wild show.
Solo's got to take care of Roman before he keeps trying to go after Cody, man, because this is not going to work out. How's he going to do this?
Solo taking care of Roman.
Yeah, I know. I know it sounds ridiculous, but no. And part of the story-wise, I think he thinks he did take him out, right? Like he took him out a couple of weeks back.
He's been gone since then. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been gone since then. So he's going to come back and definitely get his vengeance again. So we'll see. It's going to be an ongoing thing, but definitely pretty pumped for this match that's going to happen.
All right, Robert. Just a free-form discussion. Anything you want to say?
Okay. I actually didn't put much thought into this. I don't really have a prediction as to how it'll play out.
I think Vlad's right. It's got to be Roman coming in and doing this thing again. This leading to more Solo and Roman fighting. So
right.
There's no way it can't be. Unless Solo just wins finally, and that's not going to happen. I don't think.
That has very little chance of happening.
Also, I want to say perhaps one possibility also is that there will be some reference to this wedge that Cody's trying to put in between Solo and Jacob Fatu. Maybe. I don't know how it'll play out, but I think that's also a possibility.
I think it's probably too early.
Too early? Okay.
We'll see. But I mean, we'll see. But I think it's too early.
Yeah.
All right, then. Let's move along. So I got a couple more things from WWE. I'll jump to WWE Raw. So we'll get some comments about the fact that Gunther is going to have another challenger for the World Heavyweight title. It's Sami Zayn. So I'm trying to pull up a picture of Sami and Gunther here from Raw. There we go. I got it. So anybody have any thoughts about this? For the segment itself, you guys both gave this a half thumbs up. Sami Zayn stepping up to Gunther. I guess you didn't think this segment lit the world on fire, but
No.
The fact that we learned from this is probably that Gunther is going to be facing Sami Zayn. Although in this segment he didn't accept the match. Like he didn't. He said, "I don't accept this," and he walked off. Right? He ran away.
Right.
And then Sami was trying to yell at him and tell him, we got to do this match or something. So I don't know. I gave this segment a thumbs down in my review of Monday Night Raw. I was like, I didn't like the segment really particularly. I thought it was weird that Gunther was like cowardice, or he didn't really explain why he won't give him a shot. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Let's hear some thoughts from you guys. Okay, let me start with Robert. You go first this time. Half a thumbs up.
Yeah, half a thumbs up. So I gave it only half a thumbs up because I believe the result is going to be very predictable. I don't see Sami Zayn winning over Gunther. The only reason why I even give it half a thumbs up is because, well, I like both of them. They're both really good. I'm a fan of both. And the one intriguing thing about this matchup is that the only loss that Gunther has had this whole entire year was against Sami Zayn.
That's right.
That's his only loss this whole year.
So how does it make sense him just walking off and be like, "Nah, I don't accept. You don't deserve it." Or something?
He's gonna accept it. No, it's just they're just prolonging it. He's gonna accept it. It's gonna happen.
All right. So you're excited for the match. You think it could be a good match?
Yes, it's gonna be a good match, but the result will be predictable.
Okay, so you're not that excited for it. All right, well, let's jump to Vlad. Vlad, you got a minute, whatever you want to say about this.
Yeah, I kind of pretty much agree with Robert, every word he said. I think that the reason he didn't accept it is just more like heel stuff, prolonging it type of thing. Like, yeah, obviously it's going to happen. They wouldn't have presented it if it wasn't going to happen in the first place. They're going to have a match. I just think it's a little odd because they obviously had a feud just recently, not that long ago, for the Intercontinental title, which we know Sami did win, and as Robert said, was the only guy to really beat Gunther. So I mean, it makes sense, I guess, in a way, but they just had a feud, so it's kind of like, eh. But obviously, it's going to be a good match. They're going to put on a good show. These are two really, really good wrestlers. Gunther, who I think is the best, and Sami has always had really good matches as well. So it's going to be fine, but as again Robert said, it's going to be predictable, and Gunther is going to win. So there's no really drama, here. It's going to be good, but nothing it's not mind blowing.
Yeah, and I'm a little tired of them doing that. That's why I gotta give a thumbs down here, because I think I'm a little over them doing this thing where, like with Cody, they just had to kill time and bring a guy like AJ Styles in. Like, it's not going to be a title change, and we're like, well, it's just going to be a good match because he's a good worker. But, like, they got to figure a way to kill time better than just giving us a feud where we know who's going to win. And Gunther's in this period of time where he's brand new, and obviously they took a long time to build him up to this, so they're not going to just make him lose right away. But, yeah, it would be nicer if it was just a little bit more like possible, I guess. Just like, I don't know.
Okay. I want to say Cody's situation is, for me, a bit different because it was such a long build-up that story to finish took 2 years, right? And there was so much hype about him finally being the champion. So even though both of them are quote unquote killing time, it just feels worse for me for Cody's situation, just because the wait for him to be champion was like took forever. Like, it took a long time for him to finish the story and get it done. Whereas Gunther, he just challenged for the title and won. It was that simple, right?
That's true.
So there is a difference between the two.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yes. No, I agree. But that's all I'm saying. I would like it to be a little bit more creative. I kind of just feel like they're just throwing someone in there. It's like, it's my shot now. It's my turn now. I don't know. I didn't think it was creative. And I didn't think the whole thing with Gunther being a little cowardice about this is really, why do they need that for him? But okay, whatever. Let me move along. Couple more things if we have time. Let's get some women on the show. How about that, huh? Women. We've only done men so far, so let's see.
Oh boy.
Sure. Who are we talking about?
Well, we gotta be fair. Get at least some girls matches in here. But I guess we'll jump to NXT. How about that, Robert?
Oh yeah, I saw this for sure.
Roxanne Perez, baby, coming up.
She's the reason why I watch NXT. She's awesome.
So this is from Tuesday, September 3rd. I actually watched NXT, Vlad, this week. So I'm trying to watch all the wrestling, man, all of it. I even watched TNA Impact this week. So I'm all over it, baby, and Collision and Rampage. But here's something I'm mentioning. I'm throwing in some love for NXT today. Roxanne Perez came in after the pay-per-view. She got stepped up to by Giulia, right? Giulia debuted. And I guess she was going to come out here and address Giulia, everyone was expecting. But to everyone's surprise, it was a trip. The lights went out, and guess who it was? Vlad, Chelsea Green on NXT. What do you think of that?
That's cool.
Yeah, out of nowhere. Yeah, that was a cool little trip for us, man. I was like, that's nice. All right. Something for the stoners. Give us something we don't expect. So Chelsea Green comes in the ring, and, she's playing herself up like, she thinks it's not going to be a problem for her to get an NXT title shot. But the lights go out, and Julia's music hits, right, Robert? So she's a cool-looking chick. We haven't seen her in any physical action yet. This is just her second appearance. But she comes in, and I guess Chelsea's going to try to give her a slap, but she reverses that, and I guess she puts Chelsea down for the night with a punch to the face, and that was it. And she steps up to Roxanne. So my question to you, Vlad, would you be any more interested in this now that Chelsea Green is involved in this angle here? Any interest in NXT?
It doesn't really seem that she's involved. They just kind of...
I think it might be a triple threat.
No, man, they just put that in there to have her job out, man. They just have her be the jabron in this thing.
Well, I'm looking forward to NXT this Tuesday just to see if Chelsea Green's going to be involved in this somehow. I think she's going to get into this match. I think she deserves it.
I mean, I agree that she would. I actually am a big fan of Chelsea Green and her work. I think she's done great work. Just like with this kind of funny gimmick that she's got going. I thought she's been really trying to get it over herself, because I don't think she's getting any help from a lot of the writers. I think she's really doing some good stuff here. So if they try to push her here or have her be in some sort of thing in NXT, that's fine. That's cool. I dig that. I can't speak on the other people. Giulia, Roxanne Perez. I don't know much about them. I've heard names, but if they're any good, I'd like to see some of their work, I guess, and judge it from there. But otherwise, I am a fan of Chelsea Green. That's it.
All right. Well, what about you, Robert? Do you think Chelsea Green muddles this up? Should we just be seeing Giulia versus Roxanne Perez, or is a triple threat match kind of an exciting idea?
There's no way it's a triple threat match. I think Chelsea Green was just there to get knocked out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it looked like to me. I didn't even watch the show.
I think it was just a one-off. So it's just gonna be. Oh
man.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be Roxanne versus Giulia. Yeah.
All right.
Which makes sense.
So what's up with this? You've been following NXT lately, or what?
Yeah, I
excited for this. I've been getting texts from you that you're watching NXT.
I have mixed feelings about this, because I've recently started watching NXT consistently because of Roxanne Perez. I don't remember the name of the PLE. I think it was Heatwave or something like that. And Roxanne Perez had a match with, I think her name was Lola Vice or something like that. And it was incredible. And I've just been following NXT ever since, and mainly because of her, because she's been on quite a roll recently. Giulia, I only watch stuff on YouTube. I've seen some of her work on YouTube, and she's really good too. So I'm excited for the matchup. I just didn't really want Roxanne Perez to lose the title. I think she's going to lose the title to Julia.
Oh, okay.
So I would have wanted Julia to maybe challenge other wrestlers first before challenging for the title. But that's probably because I'm such a big fan of Roxanne Perez. But
it's all right. Maybe this will be her job loss. You know how all these guys from NXT have to job to somebody before they go up to the main roster.
Maybe she'll be going to the main roster. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're saying she's that good, all right then.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your thoughts. Last angle of the night. All right. Also women. Let's do it. September 2nd, Monday Night Raw. This past Monday, it's Sonya Deville. Her promo that put the Pure Fusion Collective on the map, baby. This is the promo that put the Pure Fusion Collective on the map.
That's the name of the group, Pure Fusion.
The Pure Fusion Collective. Shayna Baszler. Well, I guess Sonya was trying to recruit badass girls that, he's like, we're going to go kick ass, and I'm going to be the leader. She took it upon herself. No, that's kind of cool, I mean, she's got, ambition, this Sonya Deville does. So she got Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, and they've been trying to kick ass and run roughshod over the women's division. So I guess on this day they were going to beat Zelina Vega's ass, and Lyra Valkyria tried to help her, but it was still 3-on-2. So they did finally kick people's ass, and then Sonya Deville grabbed the mic and I guess bared all her frustrations. Here, I'm going to put this in the corner a little smaller. If you guys want to watch along, you got to zoom into that little thing in the corner because this is the best we could do. But I want to do a watch along for Sonya's promo before we get some reviews from you guys. This is the last thing we're doing today.
Listen to me. Sit down, shut up, and show me some damn respect. Do you know what it feels like to stand here and watch them lay on the ground? It's a reminder of just how pathetic everyone is. And when I say everyone, I mean every single one of you. There's not a man in this audience that can take us home, and there's not a woman in the locker room that can take us, period. But you want to step up? Shoot your shot.
Sonya
There you go. All right, so what were the reviews on this? Vlad gave this an indifferent. Okay, you didn't like it, you didn't hate it. Robert gave it a half thumbs up, so he kind of liked it. I gave it a thumbs up. I thought that was a great promo, man. She ran down the crowd. She ran down every woman on the roster all at once, and they just kicked ass. And I liked her passion. And the line about how no man there is good enough to take him home. They're like, okay. They're like, well, they're ready to be taken home, but no one here is good enough. No one in that crowd looks like
they have a chance to take them home.
They don't have a chance. They're all a bunch of fucking losers. Exactly. So, all right, thumbs up for me. Robert, do you have any thoughts on this that you want to give before we close out our show this week?
I mean, it was good. I've always thought Sonya Deville was talented, and I don't remember her cutting a promo like that exactly, but I've always thought she was talented. That's the best one I've heard from her. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I'll agree with that too.
All right. Vlad, you got any thoughts on this? You got a minute or less or whatever you want to do. Indifferent. You couldn't bring yourself to give this any type of thumbs up. Huh?
Well, it's just been so underwhelming for so long, this whole group, and this is usually such a skippable segment or a bathroom break if you're watching it live, I guess. Something or grab a snack type of thing.
So the whole program overall is turning you off to even paying attention to anything.
But yeah, I actually did hear what she said, and my ears did perk up when she said that line. I have to admit that it was a good line, and it was a pretty good promo. And
yeah, it's like the only highlight to me in a boring ass show.
Yeah, Sonya Deville had talent. I think she had that injury. She was going to be the one that teamed up with Chelsea Green, or I think they did team up.
Yeah, they were champions when she got injured.
Yeah, when she got injured, right. So I think that
was a pretty good team.
That was going to be a good team. That, unfortunately, was derailed by her injury. But I am a fan of Sonya, and I think she's definitely the best of these three as far as the wrestling personalities go. So we'll see. I just don't know what they can do as a group and, like, where it actually leads to something, like, who can they feud with? What's it going to amount to? It was a nice moment for her. But we'll see. I guess time will tell.
All right, then. With that, that's all I have prepared for this show. So I will call it the end of this show. We usually try to go an hour. Got an hour and a half today, but it's okay.
Oh, wow, great. We did well.
Yeah, no, I'll split up the segments. Hopefully we can make some, YouTube segments with all these little angles we do, and we'll get some views, hopefully. And hopefully from that, some subscribers. So if some of you can subscribe. Guys. Well, look, we're very appreciative to all the subscribers we had so far. We're already at 339. Can you believe that? To me, when we had 50 subscribers, I would look at other YouTube channels that had like 300, and I was like, man, how did they do that? That's so many. I could only dream to have that many. But yeah, I guess some people bump into our show here and there, and if you think
they must like something.
Hey, if you want some wrestling talk to kill the time, man, it's better than political talk, man, because the world fucking sucks. Don't worry about that shit. Let's just talk wrestling, all right? I don't want to do any other podcast where we talk about stuff from the world. Like, honestly, I don't want to talk about this shit. Let's just talk about wrestling, all right? Because that's where it's fun to me. But yeah, it was a fun week. I like all the stuff that happened.
It was.
Yeah, I like all the blood feud stuffs, man. There's a lot of hot feuds going. Punk,
we could agree to disagree about these blood feuds.
Well, Punk and McIntyre is definitely.
Oh no, we don't have to. No, that one we agree with.
And houses burning down.
Yeah, well, I liked it. To be honest, I was a big fan of
it. AIDS needles being put in people's mouths.
Hopefully, it's not that. I don't think Paige would go there.
No, I don't either. I just came up with that myself. I don't think they actually said that.
Man, Vlad, you are too twisted and demented. You see,
I know. I should be writing in there with Tony Khan. I should have been like,
what if they're AIDS needles? Oh my god! Let's not even joke about this.
You gotta have one of the announcers say that's an AIDS needle. or else the whole thing doesn't make sense.
Well, I heard on the YouTube feed of the Danielson getting suffocated thing that they blurted out or something like that.
No, because it looked like too violent. To murder usually would be, I guess.
I have no problem with it though. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think we need more of this in wrestling. I think they need to go further, and they will. AEW will. When their chips are down and they need something to get the audience back into it, they will just go hardcore, man. They will fucking do what they got to do to get viewers and ratings. So
they'll run somebody down. With a car, that's already been done before, so they'll have to go farther than that.
I say keep it up, baby. Keep it up. I'm happy with AEW recently, so keep up the good work. All right, then. For Vlad, the wrestling expert, for Robert, the frozen Asian, I'm happy with you guys' work, too. Thank you for all your reviews on this show and on our community posts also. Your thumbs up, thumbs down reviews. If anybody wants to get every review from Raw and Smackdown and Dynamite, you can check out our community post tab on YouTube. And we got reviews from Vlad and Robert over there. Got plenty of time to kill. There's a lot of reviews there. So go check out the content, man. There's plenty of content here, wrestling talk. And we're going to be back with more. So subscribe. And we'll be back with the Malapert Smart podcast next chance we get. And have fun with this week's wrestling. We'll see you guys next time.